Hello my loves, welcome back to my channel and welcome to a new reading vlog. Today is September 30th, which means that tomorrow is October 1st, and I wish so badly I could tell you that outside the leaves are falling, it's turning brisk, I'm getting those autumnal vibes in here, but no. They've been wearing a tank top, it is pushing 90 degrees outside and I am sweating. So mentally I wanted to be fall so bad and create this aesthetic autumnal vlog for you guys. However, we're just gonna try our best. The books that I'm currently reading, I wanted to chat with you guys about them. The first one is quite autumnal and does not match the weather outside at all, and that is For the Wolf by Hannah Witten. This book has been on my TBR for like years, and so I put it on my fall TBR this year because I finally got a physical copy of it for my birthday. This, as you can obviously tell by the cover, is a Red Riding Hood retelling. Say that 3 times fast, oh my goodness. And also by the cover you can tell it's very autumnal, actually more like winter and atmospheric. It's very much like in the forest, Red Riding Hood and the wolf kind of energy. Now, I was going to vlog my entire experience of reading this book, but I'm just starting this vlog now and I'm already 40% of the way through, so I'm like almost halfway, not quite there yet, but I have gotten far enough into this book to tell you the plot and my thoughts on it so far. So basically in this book, the back says the first daughter is for the throne, the second daughter is for the wolf. So in this fantastical world, the monarchy or the royal family, the first daughter inherits the throne and the second one is sent as some sacrifice to this wolf monster guy in the woods in hopes that they will return these 5 kings and restore the kingdom. So she goes to the forest, which is called the Wilder Wood, full of magic, full of eerie monsters and spooky things, and she goes in there and she meets the wolf, who is not the scary monster that we might all see, but there are some serious problems that they have to fix in this fantasy world. So I don't want to spoil anything, but that's like the basic premise so far. I could tell by the cover that this was going to be very atmospheric, and after reading 40%, I can tell you that's the case. This talks a lot about being in dark forests, and it's very much dark cottagecore, if that makes sense. Forest, abandoned castle in the middle of the woods, but everything is dark and creepy, spooky. It's eternally twilight. The nature, like the ground, the trees, they are all full of like evil spirits, and there's like nature magic that is like taking over, and all this stuff is going on that is related to like bark and trees and vines and nature. So it's really interesting to read about because it's a very different type of atmosphere or magic system than I'm at least used to, but I like the way that things are going with it. That being said, this is a more slow moving book because it is so atmospheric, so things are definitely happening, but it's not the fastest book to get through. So that's what I'm currently reading, number 1. But that's what I'm currently working through, and I will of course let you know my thoughts in the rest of this video. But also this Friday I'm going to be traveling to my grandparents' house and I'm super excited about it. They live farther north than I do, so I'm hoping that the drive or being in that different area will be more autumnal, more cozy. Also, just like going to your grandparents' house is always a cozy experience, at least for me, because you know, it's a warm, familial location. They always like cook for you, and I love my grandparents so much, so I'm excited to go visit them this weekend. Those are my plans for the week. Until then, I have classes and things to do, but I'll of course keep you updated on everything happening. Right now, I do have some homework, so I'm gonna go work on that, but welcome to the vlog, and I'll update you guys on the book very, very soon. I had to wait for my roommate to leave to update, but hello, happy Tuesday. My hair is looking so rough today, so please ignore that, but I have to update about this book. When I told you guys yesterday afternoon, I was at 40%. Then yesterday evening, I sat in my bed and read for like an hour and a half, and I was eating this book up. For some reason, it got like so good. And then I woke up this morning at 5 a.m. on accident, but I decided just to pick up my book and read from 5 to 7. So I read another 2 hours this morning. So I literally can't put this book down. I'm really excited about it because I had high high expectations for this book for like a year, 2 years since I've wanted to read it, but I've heard some mixed reviews. A lot of people think it's too slow, too boring, they don't like it. And the beginning is slow, which is why it took me a while to get through that first 40%. I mean, I'd say the first 20-25% is slow and then it really picks up after that. But yeah, it takes a minute to get into, for sure. And so I have to like respect that. However, this middle chunk, it's so good. There's so much eerie, foresty vibes, the little hints of romance that we get. The mutual pining is so good in this book. It's so good. And honestly, this is crazy because I haven't had a 5-star book since June, but I'm getting 5-star feelings from this, which is insane because like I said, the beginning was slow. So I wouldn't think that a book that I was kind of about at the beginning would make me want to give it a 5-star, but like I'm eating this up so much. So I don't know, we'll have to see how the ending goes. Yeah, I'll talk to you more about it later and give you like a full review, but for now I got to sit down and read this book because oh my god, it's so good. It's so good. So I'm gonna go do that right now. Besties, we need to talk. We need to talk because last night I finished For the Wolf by Hannah Witten and this was 5 stars. This was 5 stars. And here's the thing. I recently read The Right Move right here by Liz Tomford. This book was a fantastic contemporary romance and I vlogged it. It was my most recent vlog and I could not find a flaw in this book. It had everything going for it. It was perfectly crafted. It was amazing. And I gave this book 4.5 stars. This book, on the other hand, has issues with it and I can identify those issues. I understand them. However, it is still a 5-star. And that might not make any sense. And I get it, okay? It doesn't make sense to me either. But this is what I mean when I say that a 5-star is truly a feeling. And I'm excited too, because this is my first 5-star book that I've had since the beginning of June. The issues that people bring up about it that I honestly can realize and I can agree with them is the number one, the pacing. The beginning of this book is kind of hard to get into because it is very slow. We're kind of dragging through a little bit. And I get it, okay? Not for everyone, and I understand that. And honestly, I usually don't like slow books. So this is surprising that this was for me. However, the middle part of this book where we introduce the romance, where there is such subtle mutual pining and longing, but there are legitimate reason, well, kind of a legitimate reason why they can't be together, but it's just so subtle and so undercurrent-y that I just ate it up. Oh my god, it was so good. This is also a closed door book, so there's no like on the page spice, so if that's what you're interested in, this is a great book to pick up because it is like that. Also, the magic system and the setup of this world is so original in this book. Like when I tell you this is a dark cottagecore atmospheric book, I truly mean it. Not only are the settings, like the locations of the characters in like dark, rotted castles in the middle of the forest that are abandoned, covered in ivy, like the magic system in this book is based around the forest. Like the wolf or the guy in this book has powers that connect to nature. It is completely embedded in like roots and trees and leaves and things that grow out of the ground. And that is such an original type of magic system to set up. It's such an original way to write a fantasy book. And you'd think it's kind of obvious. Like I'm thinking of air, fire, water, earth, like that concept has been there before, but something about this magic system really stood out as something different and original to me. One issue that I've been having a lot recently is I really want to read fantasy books, but I don't want to read heroine who has powers but is hiding them, goes to a trial, wins it all, marries the prince, and then gets betrayed at the end. Like I feel like that plot has been done over and over and over. So this was a breath of fresh air because it was just different. The ending of this book, oh my gosh, I think that really just solidified the 5-star for me. There's one choice that she makes at the end of this book that I didn't think she was going to go through with. I'm not going to spoil, but if you know, you know. I didn't think the author would go that far, but I'm glad that she took that step, that she took that risk, because I think it's when authors get like ballsy and make risky moves, that's when I can appreciate their plots. There is a sequel to this. It's actually a duology, so I will be reading that one, but not right now because I don't have it, and I want to read it on paperback because this was so lovely to read in paperback. Like the deckled edges are just so delicious to me. I love them, so I want to get the next one. But if you haven't heard of it or you want to read it now that I've talked about it, or you've been thinking about it, maybe pick it up. Okay, this is the perfect book to read. End of autumn, early winter. I honestly read it a little bit early, but I just couldn't wait. So 5 stars for this. I'm so excited about it because like I said, I've been waiting to read this for years and I'm glad it lived up to the hype. As far as other reading updates go, So on my Kindle, I picked up this new book that just came out last month called Phantasma. I think that's what it's called. This one has been going around a lot in the booktube world recently, and I've heard such good things, so I of course wanted to pick it up. Our main character's name is Ophelia Grimm, and she has a little sister named Genevieve, and literally on the first chapter this happens, so it's not a spoiler, but her mother passes away, and her mother was a necromancer, and so she passes on her powers to Ophelia, since Ophelia is the oldest sibling, so now it is her job to be doing all of these dark magic that her mother did. It takes place in New Orleans, and there's apparently lots of supernatural activities going with like magic, demons, ghosts, necromancers, like all of these different dark supernatural beings are like embedded in the society of New Orleans. I am not very far in, so I don't know the plot, but I do know that this is a fantasy romance, and I'm really excited about it. So I'll update you guys later when I'm further into this book. I've been yapping for a long time, so I need to go, but I will talk to you guys later. It is Friday, 1 p.m., and I wanted to update on reading since I didn't vlog at all yesterday. I'm about to leave to go up to my grandparents' house, so after I film this clip, I need to fold my laundry, pack a bag, get everything ready. But just real quick before I leave, I am currently 20% of the way through Phantasma. Honestly, I don't want to say I'm losing steam. I'm really interested in this book, but I'm not reading it as fast because, like I said earlier in this vlog, I'm really tired of the same romantic plot over and over and over. Too many of them are all following that exact same trials to the death, fall in love with the guy you think is evil plotline. Like all of them have this exact same thing. And although Phantasma is very original, I think, in its magic, I like the idea of very Halloween-y type magic, but it's all the same. If you really think about it, strip it down to the bare bones, it's all the same. And I'm the kind of person that like I will eat up the same plot multiple times. Like I read romance. There are a lot of tropes that overlap, and I get that and I can understand that. Not saying I don't love these books anyway. I do still love them, but if they're all the same thing and there's no originality, it gets really boring. I need to stop being negative. I just want to put that out there to say I'm not reading this book very quickly, Phantasma, but I am still enjoying it. Ophelia is one of those characters that it's like watching a horror movie when you're like, no, don't do that. Don't walk down the dark, creepy hallway. Don't follow the ghost cat into a secret stairwell. Like maybe that's not the smart thing to do if you want to survive, and she does it anyway. So it's kind of comical in that way, but I'm only 20% of the way through, so we're still kind of getting into the story. What's happened so far is Genevieve has left. She left a note for Ophelia saying that she doesn't want to put the pressure on Ophelia for what happened. She's going to go fix the issue herself. The issue being that since their mom died, the bank wants to take over their house. They have to come up with the money to pay for the house so that the bank doesn't take it. Genevieve decides to take it up for herself, so she goes to Phantasma, which is the Devil's Manor competition thing, and doesn't tell Ophelia, and then Ophelia kind of catches on and tries to find and save her sister, which only exacerbates the problem, of course, because now they're both in the mansion of death. So really, really smart, guys. Yeah, I don't know. I'm still liking it. I'm reading it, but just at a slower pace. Now, because I'm going to be in the car for multiple hours today, driving on my own, I like to listen to audiobooks to keep myself focused. So I looked on Spotify to see if they had the audiobook for Phantasma, and they don't offer it with premium, which is really unfortunate. Instead, I'm going to be listening to The Immortal Dark, which is a book that just recently came out, and I don't know much about this book at all, so I'm not going to try to summarize it here, but all I know, dark academia vibes, very autumnal, something to do with the vampires, I think, and has recently gone very viral and very popular. I'll update you guys when I get to my grandparents' house, but for now, laundry, packing, it needs to commence because I need to leave. I need to get out of here. Okay, so let's get to packing. Hello. In my grandparents' house, there's also lawnmowers outside. Okay, I'm gonna make this super quick. They were like right outside the window and I was like scared, but hi. Yesterday on the drive up, I started Immortal Dark and I got actually a quarter of the way through. So I got 25% of the way through that book. It's interesting so far. One thing that I just want to say first that I love about it that I didn't know is this book is basically all people of color. The author makes it very clear that she said in the dedication that this is a book for Black girls. And so it's amazing to see that the love interest, the main character, all the supporting characters, like they are all different people of color, because I feel like majority, like I'd say 95% of the books that I read, they're all white characters, and not intentionally. intentionally, but just because it's like the majority of popular books out there are white authors, white characters. So it's great to see representation. They're coming back. Anyway, I do love that. So currently our main character, Kidan, she has a little sister named June who went missing a year ago. She's trying to find out what happened to her. And she actually gets this inheritance. And in order to actually obtain the inheritance from her family, which is like a house and a bunch of money, she has to, number one, go to this school called Uxla University, I want to say, and learn about vampires and humans, because that's how the world is. There are vampires and they're humans. And she also has to live in her family's house because the vampire her family had, I guess, living with them lives in the house, and he also wants the inheritance. So if he lives in the house for 28 days straight in solitude, then he gets the house. So the loophole is that if she lives in the house and goes to university, she can prevent him from getting the inheritance while also working towards graduating, and then when she graduates, she can get the inheritance. So very obviously enemies to lovers here, and it's like really enemies, which I like. A lot of books that are enemies to lovers, they just kind of banter until they fall in love, but this one, it's like they do some dark things to each other. Like, okay, that sounded really dirty. I meant, like, for example, just out of context, spoiler, very small thing, but like one morning she wakes up on the roof because he put her on the roof while she was sleeping, so now she's like dangling from the roof. Like things like that, dangerous situations that they're putting each other in. She's a human, he's a vampire, and she thinks that he took her sister, so there's a lot of tension between them. And I'd say this is a very dark plot, but it's interesting because once again, it's different from something I've read recently, and I want things that are different. I'm like craving something that's not boring and repetitive and done before. So I'm really enjoying it. Hope you guys are having an amazing Saturday. I'm going to go hang out with my grandparents and have a great time. So see you later. Okay, maybe this is a decent filming spot. Is it too bright? I can't tell. But my grandparents and I went to a really cute bookstore. I'll put the photo in right here of the actual outside of the store. It was so cute. And I bought a book, obviously. So I wanted to do a little book unboxing. Look how cute they packaged it. The book I got was Terms and Conditions by Lauren Asher. Is it better over here? I think it's better over here. This book's been out for a while, so this isn't like a new book recommendation for you. I'm sure you guys have heard of this book, but I read the first book in this series 2, maybe 3 years ago, and I liked it. I gave it 3 stars. It wasn't my favorite thing ever, but I have heard that the rest of the series gets better. So in my video that I filmed a couple weeks ago talking about all the series that I'm in the middle of reading and which ones I wanted to continue, I said that this series I do want to continue because I have hope for the other 2 books in the trilogy. So this is the book that I got. Really exciting. The shop was so cute. It was a flower shop and a bookstore, so it's just honestly ultimate vibes in there. I should have taken more pictures, but I only got one of the outside, but that's okay. I wanted to do a little unboxing with you guys, but now I'm gonna go edit my video. So talk to you later. Hi. How are you guys? It's currently Wednesday, and I don't think I've talked to you since Saturday. And my intention was to film all weekend, but now I am back at my dorm, so I spent all weekend with my grandparents. And during that time, I unfortunately fell into a little book slump. So I have gotten no progress made on the 2 books that I was talking about in the vlog most recently. And I put a poll on my YouTube channel community tab, which by the way, if you ever want to like know, what's going on with me or my posting schedules or things like that, check the community tab. I will usually poll you guys or just let you guys know things over there. But I asked if you guys wanted to see this vlog, even though it's very much unfinished because I only completed 1 book and I didn't even start that book in the video. And then now I have 2 books that are unfinished, and it's all a mess, really. But you guys said you wanted to see it like 100%, so that's great. I'm glad you guys are interested in my videos, even though they're in this case quite all over the place. But I did just want to be real and honest with y'all because I was genuinely really enjoying the 2 books that I was reading. I was reading Immortal Dark and Phantasma. I really liked both of them. Well, Phantasma less than Immortal Dark, I think, but overall they were going well. But then I just lost interest. And it's not that the books were bad by any means or that something happened to like switch how I felt about the book in the book itself. It was all a me thing, but I just had no motivation at all to read, and I had ample time to do so. Like there was a couple hours this week and I was just chilling on the couch and I was like, I could pick up a book right now and read it, and that would be best for the vlog, but genuinely I don't want to. I have no motivation to do so. I just don't want to read right now, and that's okay. Like book slumps happen to everybody, and I think the best thing to do when you're having a book slump is just to kind of let it, go through you and just like ride the wave, and then when you feel motivated to read again, pick up a book. Like I don't think it's worth it to force yourself to read just to say that you did. Even as a booktuber, I don't didn't want to do that to myself. So I let myself have the weekend off, a couple days now because it is Wednesday. Last night, I wasn't going to read anything. I was still going to just continue to not read things, but last night I watched a book recommendation video by one of my favorite YouTubers, More to Mary, and she recommended a dark romantic thriller that I picked up last night because it just seemed like something very different from what I've been reading recently, very much out of the ordinary. And I am a third of the way into that book. So I don't want to say my book slump is fixed by any means, but I am trying to, you know, try something new, step into a slightly newer genre in that it's a romantic thriller, not just a romance, and see how that goes. So that is helping me, you know, get out of my slump, which I appreciate. And I'll talk about that book in a future video, in like a wrap up or something, not here. But all I wanted to say was I slumped, and that's the truth. Part of it, I think, is just me, but part of it is definitely, like I was talking about a lot in this video, that I just think a lot of fantasy books are really just a lot of the same thing over and over, and I'm tired of it. I really am. The trial stuff is specifically I'm tired of, and that's why I was leaning more towards Immortal Dark than Phantasma, because Phantasma is about like going through different trials and that people have to stay alive for, and genuinely I just don't care about it at all. And that sounds awful, but it's the truth. So I don't know. Now, I'm not saying that I'm like hard DNFing either of those books. I probably will get back to them at some point in the future, but for now I'm definitely just putting them away. I completely took them off my currently reading shelf on Goodreads. I just put them on my want to read shelf because at the moment I don't want to go back there right now. I want to do something different. You know, I'm switching roads, switching paths, and I'm going to change what I'm doing. So not the best for content purposes, but it's the best for me, I think. I want to just try new things. I was debating getting into Kristen Hanna. She is a historical writer. Maybe Ellen Hildebrand. She's a literary fiction writer. Although I feel like her books are best for the summer, not for autumn. I may reread some of my favorite books that I have on my shelf that are great for autumnal weather, like maybe something like that, because I still want to be in the fall vibes, but unfortunately the books that I was reading, although they were autumnal, just weren't doing it for me. So I spent the weekend just trying to not read, not force myself to do anything, and we'll see if this romantic thriller gets me out of the slump or if I'm back in it. Next video you guys will see my update for that, but I just want to check in and let you guys know. I hope you guys are having an amazing week, and thank you for wanting to see the rest of this vlog, even though it is quite messy. One thing that was great in it though is I got 1 5-star, so that was wonderful. As always, subscribe to my channel because I post new videos every single Thursday, and comment down below the best book that got you out of a reading slump because I may need that one sometime soon. I'm sending you guys so much love, and I will see you next week.